All right. Hey guys, Eric Whitener here with the Knoxville Real Estate Group. And as you may or may not know, we, Terry, Joe, and myself, are big believers in giving back and getting involved in our community. In the process of doing so, we've had the pleasure of being introduced to and working with a lot of great nonprofits in our area. This has led us to wanting to share these great organizations with you, the viewer, in hopes that you may find a connection that draws you to also take action and get involved by either donating your time or money. Any way you can get involved with these organizations. With that being said, I'd like to introduce to you a friend of mine, Zan Schriver, who works with Volunteer Ministry Centers, commonly known as VMC, and their mission is preventing and ending homelessness in the area. And so I'd like to go ahead and say hi and introduce Zan.
Hello, Eric. It's good to be on the call with you today.
Good deal. Good deal. Hey, if you don't care, if you go ahead and just start, let everybody know kind of what VMC does and what they do, what their mission is, and how they do it.
So the Volunteer Ministry Center has a very specific niche, if you will, here in Knoxville, because there are different agencies that provide that emergency care, which is very much needed, like shelter and food. So years ago, the Volunteer Ministry Center, our experience is that we were seeing kind of the same faces day to day, month to month, year to year, kind of staying on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it became clear to us what our focus needed to be, and that is really the focus of helping folks that are either living on the streets or they may be staying at a shelter or Salvation Army or something like that. But we work very specifically with those folks to overcome those barriers so they can achieve housing. And let me tell you something, it is our experience is that it can take 6 to 12 months to help somebody for them to achieve housing. And so that's a long time while you're either living in a shelter or many folks are living on the street. And so in the kind of the short way to say it is we have really chosen to focus on ending homelessness. And that's just not a phrase for us. That is something that we believe in. And many of the people that we're able to help into housing have been homeless for years. And, it's almost kind of like some of these folks have kind of been forgotten about, or I think there's an assumption that they can never achieve homeless. And you will hear me say, I don't usually refer to people as, well, Joe's homeless. I'll go, well, Joe is experiencing homelessness, because what I want to convey in that homelessness does not define a person. That is a unique person. That is a person that has their own story, has people somewhere that love them most likely. And so when we say that homelessness is, it's an experience. It's not a condition, and it's something that can change. And we don't want to just kind of act with the assumption that people can't change and that they don't deserve better, because we feel like they do.
That's pretty awesome, and that knock on wood. I've never had to, I've never experienced that myself. I can only imagine what that is like, and how it's probably hard to even try to go to some place to get help, to cross that threshold. And then it's amazing that there are people such as VMC that are out there, doing the work. That's awesome. You guys recently opened a new facility. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So, and I'm going to be very honest about this. So, because I've kind of said that, our belief and our focus is on housing. So we don't necessarily advocate handing out blankets or food, and we don't by any means think that is wrong, but we have to kind of stand by what we've said we believe in. So when we help people with things such as, well, if it's food or coats or transportation or whatever it is, we do it, we don't believe in what I call the one and done, meaning they get something, they walk away a couple hours later, or they get a couple hours of comfort or whatever, and then they're kind of back to their situation. So when we help somebody with something, we want it to be in a way to help folks to connect to us and eventually lead towards connecting them to housing services. So, so where traditionally we have not been focused on emergency care, it's been housing. We opened up the foyer in December 2019, and that is this is kind of a long phrase, but it's called a low barrier housing focused emergency shelter. And it's really focused on folks that are not currently staying at a shelter or accessing services. So what we're hoping to do is to reach those folks that have been, for using a label here, but have been service resistant, so to speak, and more challenging to reach. And so these folks have to be referred. We have about 40 beds in the shelter. And these folks have to be referred by a street outreach case manager to be able to stay there. The other thing that makes it different than a traditional shelter is our focus really is connecting them to housing case management services so that they can get off the streets. And so the focus is we're providing some care for them, but it's in the context of connecting them to housing services so that it can end their homelessness, not providing care for them.
That's pretty awesome. So if I'm watching, first of all, let me back up just a little bit. Where are you guys located?
So we're located on the corner of 5th Avenue and Broadway, and so we're right at downtown Knoxville. Mm-hmm. And so our services are for those that are downtown and in that area. So
okay. And if somebody's watching this, and obviously I think for the most part in Knoxville, the majority of us don't necessarily see or introduced to the homelessness on a daily basis, but obviously there are some parts of downtown where you can see it. But if somebody watching this is like, hey, I really like the idea of helping to end homelessness, how can I help? I think a lot of people feel it's just always, when it comes to a nonprofit, it's always money. But there are other ways that, including money, that people can help. What are ways that people can get involved with BMC and help make a difference?
I appreciate that, Eric. And I won't lie, the financial part is important, but we agree as well that we feel like we have a responsibility to involve the community in what we do, and make no mistake about it, we don't work in a vacuum. The community makes it possible to do what we do. But if the average person says, hey, I'd really like to get involved with that, we have volunteer opportunities. We have one program, the Bush Family Refuge, that we have. It is almost run entirely by volunteer counselors or just regular people that step up. And so we have a different crew of volunteers every day. And that's great for like students and retirees. We also have in our housing case management program, the Resource Center, we have groups that come almost every day, and they bring food and serve the meal to those that are working hard to leave the streets behind and work into housing. So those are two really good volunteer opportunities. We are also in need, what's really great is a lot of times we're always in need of donated items like clothes and toiletry items and sheets and blankets and things like that for the refuge, for the resource center, for the foyer. So a lot of times individuals in churches or businesses will say, you know what, I can get a lot of stuff together, get my coworkers. One time someone donated a bunch of running shoes from a group of runners from a running group. And, like athletic shoes, like that's something we really need. Because unfortunately, the nature of homelessness is folks, either because of the weather or not having privacy and security, things get stolen. They, they lose things day to day and have to get them replaced. So.
Okay, so clearly there's ways, there's the ways to get involved in there. Correct me if I'm wrong, BMC also has, because I want to say, not that long ago, I actually participated with the church I used to go to, but you do meal groups too, correct?
Yes, yes. And yes, that's when folks can come and do either breakfast, lunch, or supper. And it's a great way to get a group of people involved. And I tell you the most awesome thing about it, it's an opportunity. You're not only helping people in need, but you're helping people in need that have actively engaged themselves in changing their situation and are working towards housing. And you get to talk and interact with them and listen. It's a thin line of difference
Yeah.
between us and the folks we're serving. Things could happen at any point to any of us to put us in this, to put us in a situation where we need the help of other people. And so I think for me, getting to know a lot of the folks that we serve, it comes down to that. So.
That's awesome. So obviously there's a lot of great ways for people to physically get involved and donate their time and their talents to help BMC and help the homeless out there. And then again, coming back to it, if you don't have the time or the ability, but you still want to help, you can either donate items or definitely donate money. Money is a great way to help fund the effort, so that an organization like VMC can continue on its mission, because at the end of the day you got to keep the lights on to make it happen, right?
And absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so if you're interested in VMC, you're gonna in helping or getting involved with VMC, you're gonna see either below or above, wherever you're watching this at, there's going to be a link to their website, and on the website has a lot of great information about Volunteer Ministry Center, and also it explains how to get involved. So I really hope you guys check it out and reach out to them and see what you can do to be a part of their great mission. And at the same time, just remember that we here at the Knox Fox Real Estate Group, we're big in giving back. And so when you use the Knox Fox Real Estate Group to buy or sell a home, we'll get 10% of our commission to a charity of your choice, just like VMC. So with that being said, I appreciate your time, Zan, and hopefully some of the viewers got something great out of this. And I look forward to sharing the word and seeing what successes VMC has here in the near future.
Thanks so much, Eric.
All right, buddy. You have a good one.
You too.